Welcome everyone to a casted game of Age of Empires 4, and today's spawning south corner of the map playing in green. We've got Give You Anxiety playing as the Holy Roman Empire, and his opponent in the north, east, playing in blue. Yeah, I don't know this name, but we're going to say it's the Japanese, playing in teal. Welcome everyone to Golden Pit. That is the map for today, featuring one new civilization. Holy Roman Empire, they do have the Order of the Dragon, but this is the old one. The old mother civilization with the prelate boosting up by 40%. So the Holy Roman Empire versus the Japanese, an interesting matchup, I gotta say. I haven't seen this one. Obviously a lot of new civilization matchups when you factor in the old civilizations versus the new ones. The Japanese versus the HRE could be an interesting one. We do see a lot of the Japanese players do go for the Cura Storehouse, and it's probably going to be the similar sort of play. But I do wonder about the value of the Cocker Township and the Shinobi, because the Shinobi could be pretty aggressive. They can obviously pile on some pressure nice and early, which is something that you tend to want to do against the HRE, but it does feel like the Cura Storehouse is much more of a safer option, especially because of the fact that the town centers can be upgraded with the Daimyo Manor, and that I feel like synergizes really well with the Cura Storehouse. You get free farms with the Cura Storehouse, of course, and so boosting up that harvest rate when you do upgrade that eventually. Now, there is a kind of an interesting thing about the Japanese, the fact that they can play very, very kind of flexibly. They can get one town center play, they can get two town centers if you want to. They're quite flexible in their options, but I feel like sometimes they do need to be flexible around their opponent. The Holy Roman Empire typically often do go for a very fast age up to the feudal age, and then they've got a couple of options themselves. I think the Japanese are probably going to be looking to be a bit more reactive. The HRE might play for that standard Reykjavik's Cathedral in the Castle Age play, looking to get those relics. Time will tell. We do see villages coming out to stone with a forge being built, so it does certainly look like a second town centre. Although it could be thinking about just getting enough stone for the upgrade for the Daimyo Manor. It is going to be the Cura Storehouse in the end, going to be building it with 5 villagers to get there pretty quickly. And it will be the Archon Chapel for the Holy Roman Empire. An incredibly strong landmark. Now the Order of the Dragon, the variant civilization for the HRE, do actually also get the Archon Chapel. But it's not made the same way. The Order of the Dragon doesn't have the prelates start the game off, and the Archon Chapel for the Order of the Dragon only gives you 10% of a buffering. The HRE, on the other hand, will allow the prelate to be garrisonable inside, buffering the villagers by 40%. Alright, well, 3 villagers on stone, 4 villagers on stone. It does really suggest that second town centre play for the Japanese. Now, talking about the map, what's interesting is it does actually kind of force players out into the middle of the map, because there's gold to be had. Having said that, it does often take about sort of 20-25 minutes before your initial gold is actually kind of exhausted, because you do start off with up to 2 gold veins kind of back at home, although in this particular generation for the Holy Roman Empire, that second gold vein is a little bit further out than we're normally accustomed to. But it's not necessarily a problem, because the gold at the back, well, it is at the back, which is great for GUA. Easy to defend, and with the Japanese looking to get a second town centre themselves, it does mean that any sort of aggression in the feudal age will be relatively delayed, to such a point that it could be a decent fast castle time for GUA. Possibly doesn't even have to commit to an outpost, but what he is committing to is a stable, looking to get some horsemen onto the field nice and early. Now, relying on berries a little bit. Pretty surprised to see that, actually, because he doesn't have the Tawara upgrade. What I like to call Baby Wheelbarrow. In fact, he doesn't go for a second town centre, so I take it back, actually. It was actually for a fast Daimyo Manor upgrade, looking to boost the efficiency of these farms by 25%, also giving an additional arrow slit, and also a free villager, and also more HP. Lots of upgrades coming in with the Daimyo Manor. Lots of villages on wood, so maybe thinking about some production buildings, of course, to challenge and counteract this barracks, this stable rather, that has been built. And he probably would look to counteract that with the barracks, which is not a bad play here for the Japanese. It's something that they commonly do. They are very infantry based. This civilization, great infantry units, the samurai, the honor geisha, and decent spearmen at that. is opening up with the stable, though. And probably looking to get Bannerman, right? So this is actually a nice build. The Bannerman is a pretty tanky unit. Also be able to increase the damage output by 15% of nearby cavalry. Does walk onto the field. Now, this is actually a pretty premium unit. 230 HP, 18 damage coming out of it. We're going down south. Going to be missing out on the horseman, which Jiwei actually spots the Bannerman, by the way. So he's going to probably prep a bit of a defense at home, because he's got to be careful not to be raided too heavily. But plenty of villages on gold. In fact, Jiwei is going to get to that castle age pretty soon. Definitely has the resources to do so in just a moment. There it is. I would have thought it's going to be the Regnitz Cathedral. Probably very likely. We'll just get confirmation of that as time wears on. And it is going to be the Regnitz Cathedral. Going to go up with 8 villagers. And then prep himself to get a relic or two. Does get a barracks there, the Japanese. Stable barracks opening. Looking to get a spearman or two. And it's going to be harassed on that berry bush a little bit. With the HRE horseman. It's going to get the first Tawara upgrade. So we'll be increasing the carrier capacity, movement speed of the villagers and the gather rate from the berries. In fact, he might just leave the villager to die there in the end. Oh, he gets a surround. He body blocks, and in fact, the villager does get microed nicely there by the Japanese. Pulls away the second. But it's good idle time being caused by this horseman. 2 horsemen there, going to be pushed away. 1 horseman, 1 scout. Loses the scout. Another spearman does back out. Come out from the barracks there for the Japanese, and going to be pushing that horseman away. Villagers on the woodline, though, are being pushed back, and it's a good bit of idle time caused by the Bannerman. What's really strong about this, by the way, the Bannerman does have a shield on top of it. It's a bit of a white bar on top of it. It's gone away at the moment, but what it does allow is the first attack, whether it's ranged or melee, doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter how big that damage output is, it absorbs it entirely. Speaking of absorbing, it's absorbing a lot of the arrow fire. Got to be careful. That unit might be going down pretty quickly. I think Jiwei's trying to snipe it maybe with the villager. No, backs away for now. And with that castle age in play, Japanese might need to look out to get onto the map to deny some relics. Does lose the Bannerman. Does leave the aura for 30 seconds of that 15% damage output increase for nearby cavalry, of which there are, of course, none. Farming transition continues, and Japanese is going to be getting another Bannerman onto the field. Has got 1 relic in his grasp already, Jiwei. So this is going to be setting himself up nicely for the mid-Castle Age, late Castle Age, and also early Imperial Age if it gets that far. Going to be walling up on the east side as well. Now, there is actually a bit of a mechanic that I would love to explore with the Japanese and just discuss it with you guys, because the Forge is a building which acts as both a blacksmith and a mining camp. But more importantly, the focus really of the discussion is the floating gate landmark. Now, of course, we don't know whether the Japanese will actually get that just yet. It's probably quite likely. It's a very common landmark to choose as the Japanese. But the reason why I want to focus on it is because it does give access to the Yorishiro. A nice little bonus that you can deposit that little package in various buildings. But one such building could be the Forge. And that forge, well, it will generate gold. 25 gold every 20 seconds, totaling, of course, 75 gold per minute. Now, if you factor in a relic and how much gold that brings in, well, a relic will bring you 80 gold per minute. Unless you've got the Regnitz Cathedral, then, of course, it's 160 gold per minute. But, of course, as the time goes on, if you get enough of those Yorishiros and enough of those forges, you can actually match the gold income pretty nicely. Now, you probably would need sort of about 9 or 10 of those. The Yorishiro don't spawn that quick. But it's just something to think about if the game goes late. We have no idea if that will happen. But we'll see. As you see, that shield just did get negated by that attack from the knight. And the Japanese now do have to back away. Double stable opening, so we might be seeing some mounted samurai. And it is going to be that floating gate landmark we were talking about. Got to be careful not to lose the Bannerman. Now, the movement speed on the Bannerman is pretty decent, 1.62. But it would be chased by the horseman at 1.88. The knights, on the other hand, will only just about keep up. 1.62 movement speed on the knight. Jiwei walling up Just worried about raids coming in, but he's safe for now. There's not all that much military on the field for the Japanese, but that might change quite quickly with this double stable play into the mounted samurai. There we are. The Yorishiro being picked up. Going to be deposited in the forge, I would have thought, but we shall see because there are other options too. Could potentially deposit it in the stable, increasing the production speed by 200%. And it could also be placed in farmhouses gathering food, could also be placed in town centers. And, well, it decides to go for it on the forge. You can see the little bit of a monument there. Now we're getting that gold. Now, with 2 relics already deposited for the HRE, this is looking a bit tricky. The third one coming in. Now, this is something that you typically would not want to happen. That is for sure. Like, you really do not want the HRE getting this number of relics. He might get another one. Will it get off? Oh, it just gets it in time. And the relic is deposited on the floor. Well, dropped on the floor, really. But that third relic coming in soon is a bit of a concern, right? And he does deposit the other Yorishiro in that forge. So those 2 Yorishiro in the 2 forges kind of matches the 1 relic of the Holy Roman Empire, but he's got 3 so far, so that gold differential will be big. But it's something interesting to think about, right? Because the Japanese, if it does go to the late game, they might be able to keep up in that regard. And if they get more than 10 forges, well, they'll be able to outdo those 3 relics that he's got so far, I think. I'm never strong in math, so I'd have to quickly work that in my brain. Well, the Mounted Samurai diving in, getting a few villager kills. This is actually pretty big. It's killed 4 so far. The Mounted Samurai with the shields on top of them as well. It really makes a big difference. Could be tanking out a lot of that arrow fire. Looking to get some more villagers. Does sniper prelate most likely? Wait, rise past? Maybe not. I thought he was going to focus on the prelate. And here comes the Bannerman, adding into the damage output. But with the Bannerman also buffering up these Mounted Samurai, they're going to get huge value. The north, there is a knight just chopping away at these villagers. Well, he's got to be careful here, the Japanese. He's coming back with the prelate. Back at home, he's losing villagers. A lot of idle time being caused as well. Bannerman getting some kills, and it's only really a scout. Bannerman needs to get out of there. Probably will lose his life. Here come the knights for the HRE, chasing it down. Maybe safe for now, but good destruction done here by the Japanese. Wait, he's not noticed this. Knight's still getting kills, so all that value that he got on the front lines with the Mounted Samurai kind of negated somewhat. With this knight and how much damage he's done. But with, wait, 5 relics? 5 relics HRE? Oh my god, this is bad. You do not want the HRE getting this amount of gold. In fact, at this moment, it doesn't even need any villages and gold. It's already still getting 600 per minute. Uh-oh. He's also getting kind of outpost as well on the front. Going to be surrounding the horseman. He might lose a villager here, I'm afraid. He does. Oh, the horseman gets away with it as well. Oh, that's rough. Oh, well, hello. Mounted Samurai do have to back away. There's no real way that he breaks through here, the Japanese now. And this is a really hard situation for the Japanese. Because of the base layout of the HRE, what they can actually do at this stage is go for an Imperial Age, right? With the Palace of Swabia. And that makes things incredibly difficult. Palace of Swabia, for many people, is a very oppressive landmark. Incredible production speed of the villagers. It also makes them cheaper too. The one thing that's actually kind of in the favor of the Japanese, though, if Jiwei does go for that Imperial Age, of which he just spent a lot of food, so probably not. It does mean that he would get map control in the middle, right? There's a lot of gold to be had, but the trouble for Jiwei, I mean, the thing is, Jiwei doesn't need gold. He's got plenty coming in. Especially with that 5th relic about to be deposited. Got nowhere to put it, in fact. Gonna need to get another outpost. 5 relics. Ooh, that's scary times, I gotta say. Oh, bit of a raid here on the wood line. Loses a couple. Let's back away. On a Bagation coming out onto the field as well. Oh, again, the Cura storehouse. And there's villagers being lost. Hello, wake up. Wakey, wakey. Oh no, he's losing quite a lot here. Oh, that's rough. Does have a couple of spearmen getting in position. The trouble is the Cura storehouse can only garrison 8 slots. He did have slots in the town centre. Wololo going to be pushing away the army that's heading in, and Mounted Samurai didn't get all that much value in the end. That rode in. In the north, couple of knights tracking down the Mounted Samurai. Oh, still more Mounted Samurai riding in. Oh, crossbows. We'll be taking out a couple of them on the retreat. In the north. Yikes. Well, that mounted samurai does survive for now. Scout will be sniped. Get a knight on that gold vein. That's actually bad. Japanese, finding it difficult to protect from these raids. He's losing a lot of villagers. He will get the wraparound now, but he lost a fair few. And GOA, with that gold income, it's looking on point. But it's not just the gold income, the raw gold income. The fact that it's passively means that villagers can do other things, and these villagers need to find something else to do. Plenty of farms being seeded. And finally, we'll get that 5th relic deposited in that outpost. Also has the sacred site on the west side, by the way. Adding in a very nice amount of gold. Daimyo Palace has been completed, so these farms will be added, will be having an additional 50% bonus in terms of harvest rate. Let's have another Yorishiro to place. Another forge build, getting prepped for that Yorishiro. Now the thing is, I think this is something really interesting to explore about the Japanese. I mentioned it earlier, but like putting the Yorishiro inside the forges, whilst he will need a couple more, they will help and balance that kind of deficit that GOA has established with the relics in play. But of course, he's going to need more than what he has so far. Quite a few mounted samurai. He needs to protect these gold veins, right? He's lost quite a few villagers. Of course, the raids were better though for the Japanese. Got a lot more value. Maybe looking to get some more going on that woodline. I don't know if there's an overchop there, but GOA does react. Of course, he gets the additional vision from that outpost, so he's keeping an eye on it. Another knight harassing the Kuro storehouse workers. There's no way out for that knight, but he might come back around. He does do that. I hope he's paying attention. He does. This time he's going to garrison the villagers. And he does lose the knight in the end. With 5 relics for the HRE, this is a rough spot for the Japanese, I've got to say. Especially when you factor in he's only got, I think he's got 2 forges so far with the Yorishiro inside. So that's going to negate just 1 relic. In terms of comparisons. So yeah, for 5 relic HRE, he's going to need 10 of those forges. But obviously he's had these 5 relics for quite some time. So look at that gold income. 2,500 in the bank. I would be surprised if we don't see a Palace of Swabi pretty soon. Oh, Mounted Samurai do have to back off. There's quite a few crossbows. GOA deletes the walls, trying to chase forward. Horsemen going to continue that chase. Crossbowmen can't keep up, although the Mounted Samurai going back into the range does lose 1. The north. Oh, that's a lot of commitment for that one knight. They really want him. Oh, Mounted Samurai right back in. This is a waste here for the Japanese. Needs to back away from that for sure. Just losing units here. Pretty cheaply, the Japanese. And it is that Palace of Swabia tech up. We kind of expected it. Where has he put it? He's got to put it back at home, right? Now, the one thing to consider is that, well, the Palace of Swabia being at home is very well and good for now. But GUA will want to make it across the map soon. The one consideration as well for the Japanese, they don't unfortunately get castles or keeps in the Castle Age. They have to wait for the Imperial Age for that. In the meantime, they'll have to rely on their town centres as more of the static defense. Maybe placing a town centre, maybe upgrading it could be an option. Behind this, well, the Japanese aren't too far off the Imperial Age themselves. I've got to say, the macro has been pretty on point for the Japanese. The Kuro storehouse certainly playing a role in that. Does have 2 Yorishiro, is building more forges, right? He gets the idea. He recognizes that sure he's down and out in terms of relics, but if he can kind of counterbalance that a little bit, he might be okay. Getting a second town center, wants to keep up the villager count as much as he can. And he's also going to be getting the Tanegashima gunsmith, offering 5 tickets to start off with. We'll be getting some free siege units. Will we be seeing some Ozutsu? Possible. It's possible. Now, GUA might be feeling optimistic about taking a fight, right? He's been pretty passive. I'm not so sure how much he sees of what's happening. But he has had the military lead for quite some time, so possibly could have been a bit more active with his army. Because the Japanese, they don't have that much back at home, right? Like, don't forget the Imperial Age for the Holy Roman Empire was significantly cheaper, so the cheap savings that they get on that, a lot of it has been translated into military. Getting tithe barns, getting cannon emplacements inside the outposts. Playing very passively. The Japanese looking to get the sacred site on the east side. And he has he deposited? Yeah, the 2 forges are gathering gold. So with 4 forges, with the Yorishiro, that counteracts 2 of the 5 relics that the HRE have right now. Mounted samurai. Oh, pathing. That's not working out for him. Lost about 2-3 samurai for nothing. Does ride away with them in the end. But I guess in a way it is kind of pushing GOA just to stay at home for now. It's constant threat. With only 2 town centers, it's a bit tricky here. Certainly going to fall behind a village count. Getting mass barracks, and I don't dislike this. It does come an opportunity for the Japanese to really pump out military units very quickly. And the Onobugeisha, we could be seeing a lot more of her. Fast mobility, an extra tile range of attack, and a very fast attack speed. A great support unit for melee mosh pits and melee fights. Adding a new dimension to the melee attacks that you can get. And we do see a lot of comrades, Onobugeisha, veteran Onobugeisha heading across the map. Maybe looking to raid. In many ways is a very strong raiding unit, and it feels like the Japanese might take advantage of that in the coming minute. Has now been upgraded to elite, so does have 125 HP and 10 damage. That attack speed is 0.9. Is hard countered by ranged units though, so we'll need to be careful not to go head in first with those archers in the way. Mostly crossbowmen, to be fair. Going to be getting inspired warriors, allowing the prelates to inspire military units, improving their armor by 1 and increasing the damage by 15%. Adding in prelates is actually going to be pretty strong for the HRE. Not only just dictating the terms of the fight, but also being able to heal up units when they are down and out. It does take some time for another Yorishiro to come out, but if you can hold the front lines here, the Japanese, and sees this to the super late game, there is a world in which that he actually has more forges and more Yorishiro that counteracts and even goes there and beyond that, gathers more gold than the relics that the Relics Cathedral is giving in for the HRE. But there's quite a bit of time between now and then, you feel. A couple of horsemen deactivating that sacred site on the right side. Do the Japanese react? He does. He's going to send the whole army, it seems. Led by a couple of mounted samurai and the Uma bannermen. The horsemen will decap that sacred site, but they might be caught in this corner. And Jiwei hasn't rode out of there just yet. And he might be sniped. Oh, he could have walled up in the north. Didn't quite do it. Might lose a Shinto priest. Nope, the Shinto priest walks on by. Horseman might get some raiding here in the end. Now the Yorishiro has been placed in this forge. Oh, will he commit? No, he's going to ride out of there. Now I suspect won't run into too many problems. Should just retreat back home. The Onobugeisha do get a couple of hits. You see how fast they attack. Gonna head into the middle of the map. They might just turn around and fight with the reinforcements coming in there for GUA. Will the Japanese take the bait? Sacred site has been captured again on the right side. There are a couple of hand cannoneers sprinkled in with the crossbows as well. More mounted samurai do fall quite cheaply. He does ride out of there in the end. Does have the katana bannerman, adding the 15% damage output on those infantry too. There is a keep there for GUA. Looking to get some positioning in the middle. Now, despite Japanese having a lot of map control for quite a significant period of the time of the game, never really solidified that position. Oh, might be looking to push on forward now. Honor Geisha moving in. Does have the Ozutsu, who is taking a good engagement here at the initial stages. Quite a few crossbows there for the Holy Roman Empire, but it looks like Japanese might push on ahead. The Mangonel going to get caught. He might need to snipe. He needs to snipe the Mangonel out. He does. But you can just see the attack range of the Honor Geisha really coming into play here. They're just fighting on 2 layers of that melee engagement. Oh, there's a lot of villagers there by GOA. Where are they going? Trying to get that keep up. They're going to add into the fight now. They might as well now that they're there. But the Honor Geisha are going to jump on all of those hand cannoneers and crossbows. They're going to rip through. A great fight there for the Japanese, led by the Katana Bannerman. And this is looking rough now for the HRE. Being pushed back. A lot of villagers went down too. Does have a Mangonel. Needs to dive on that with a couple of Honor Geisha. It does do that. Splits them up. There are 2 Mangonels. They both go down. Does get a shot though in the end. Now taking stock. He just lost a lot of villagers. He's lost 64 in total. Down to 68. Now, the one good thing is he does have the Palace of Swabia, but that's a significant portion of his economy. The good thing is that the should be able to stem any further progression of that army with the outpost. But take a look at this. The Sea of Teal units heading across the map. Now, that he is in the Imperial Age, rather. He can get a castle that does have a rocket emplacement. Needs to be careful not to lose a Katana Bannerman too prematurely. He does have a spring on emplacement inside that outpost. But down to 20 military here, GUA, and he's kind of under a lot of pressure. Tried to make a play for the middle. It was just too early. The Honor Geisha did great in that fight, and now they're going to be heading further forward. Elite Honor Geisha might just run right inside the base. The HRE have to be careful. Spread formation just to help protect themselves against the cannon emplacements that are in the forward outpost. There's nothing here to defend apart from the town center. And this is looking rough for GOA. He might lose a lot. The timing push from the Japanese was absolutely perfect. Wallalo coming off. GOA trying to get a Wallalo. Oh, a couple of Honor Geisha might get caught out there. What is this? He's going to lose a couple. Didn't get out in time. And that's unfortunate for him. Might dive on top of that Mangonel. No, he decides to focus on the villagers and kills a couple of Honor Geisha. Does take out the Mangonel. He loses his army here, the Japanese mostly. But he did a lot of economy damage. He's lost 90 villagers here, GUA. Now, even with the Palace of Swabia, that's a raid that is significant. Behind all of this, the push for the Japanese in the middle, certainly more effective than GUA's. Getting a castle and siege engineering, or siege workshops rather. And Honor Geisha is such a great unit. We talked about the heavy infantry-based army for the Japanese. They're incredibly strong in the Honor Geisha. 11 seconds to train, by the way. They can be spammed very cheaply. Only 60 food and only 20 gold. Now, the reason why these units are so strong is because when you think about the surface area for attacking, if they have a good meat shield in front of them, they can even do better. But they can actually fight over the shoulders, over, their allies. And I was even discussing this with someone on YouTube earlier on in the comment section. Now, the Sabahi do get something similar. The Phalanx upgrade for the Abbasid dynasty do get something similar with their spearmen. But the different dynamic is that if you sprinkle in a more of a meat shield unit for the Japanese in front of the Honor Geisha, it can really add a different dimension to the fight. Because of the fact that, while the spearmen for the Abbasids and the Sipahi for the Ottomans, they tend to be a frontline unit. So it just adds a different positioning effect to those fights. Honor Geisha are going to be getting a lot of torch damage, by the way, torching their way through the Holy Roman Empire infrastructure. Oh, 3 Mangonels though. He's got to go on spread formation. It takes a massive hit. A lot of the units do take out half of their health, and Honor Geisha got to get out of there. Great Mangonel shot there for GUA. The castle has been built. Rams coming across the way. A couple more Honor Geisha coming in on the north part. Might snipe out that culverin. That culverin caught, but nope. Decides not to take it. The right outpost there after all. Honor Geisha coming in from the south again. Palaces don't get in, and GUA's army is being pulled in all sorts of directions. They made them head for the north. Great play there by the Japanese. You saw what they did. They brought some Honor Geisha in the north, baited that force in the north to see whether GUA would take the bait, and he did. And then he rides back in the south with the Honor Geisha. Mangonels do deploy, but these units are relatively cheap. They're getting value. They're killing more villagers. Oh, Walolo coming off. He might get another Walolo. Oh, he does. He's going to get a lot of those Yonabagation. The Japanese, he's just A-clicking here, it seems, and not paying attention. Down to 42 military, but take a look at the population, the village count, 111 for the Japanese. That second town center has done great work for him. And looks like he's got even more forges, it seems. Let's see if he's got any more Yorishiro deposited. Does have 2 to put in. A lot of wood economy for GUA. Exposed. And I think he sees that. He's going to head over there. Possibly. We'll have to see. But maybe before he does, I just want to say a very big thank you for everyone supporting on YouTube and on Twitch. I've been live streaming a lot these days, so I'm actually casting this one live too. So if you're on YouTube and you do think, oh, maybe I want to join the live stream, maybe jump in, and I'll leave the video link in the description to where you can find my Twitch channel. But I really appreciate all the support you guys have been getting. A lot of Mangonels. The Onabagation in the middle have to back off, and that's actually a dangerous army for GUA. 76 population for military count, and that's a fearsome force. 2 Culverins, 4 Mangonels, and a great army in front of it. Looks like Japanese were opting for... Oh my god. Wait, do those villagers... Okay, he saved them in the end. Whew. Maybe we could have missed a massacre there for a second, but he managed to pull them away, and just as well as he did. Because that could have been dangerous. Mangonels deploy on the outpost. Japanese got to be careful, right? He's at almost 200 population, but he's got 120 villagers, which is significantly more than the HRE, so he's going to have a good bank of resources. But he's got to be careful that he doesn't get overrun by the massive units. But the Onabagation should trade well against these horsemen. Onabagation riding in, and this is an issue for GUA. He was open here. Had an overchop. And this is going to be looking bad because GUA had a lot of his army in the middle, right? They have to head back home, and the raiding potential for these units is so strong. GUA never completed those walls after the wood line was taken. And it buys more time for the Japanese. Oh, Walolo once again. Will he get more units? Possibly. GUA actually fighting with his own elite Onabagation there. Now, slowly but surely, I quite like what the Japanese are doing here, by the way, because they are just kind of forcing their way through, but behind this he has a stronger economy, right? And that's expanding. Like the bank of resources should be climbing. I have to say though, the economy for the HRE not too shabby with 5,000 food in the bank, courtesy of the 40% buffering from the Arca Chap on the farms. There come the emergency repairs on that outpost, but they're just going to come up to try and torch down the rams. They do get it in the end. But decent damage so far. Trickling in some more units here, the Japanese, through the stealth forest. Katana Bannerman leading the way, but a bit of a suicide mission for those Onabagation. Does back away for now. Coming again, though, from the west. GUA hasn't learned the lesson yet. It hasn't walled up. He might be paying the price once again. Onabagation do back in, and the thing is, he's actually killing villagers as they pop out of the Palace of Swabia, taking villagers out on the farms, and in the middle of the map, well, GUA, he's had enough. He feels like he wants to push in, does take out the keep and the infrastructure around it in the blink of an eye, but the Onabagation getting so many kills, killed 140 villagers so far. It's very difficult for even the Palace of Swabia to catch up with that. Oh, he's going to dive on top of those hand cannoneers, and the Katana Bannerman getting swept away by the Mangonels. Getting on top of it, though, does have a couple of Springles that will take a couple of the Mangonels out. Should get one more at least. Oh, the Mangonels were focusing on the units and not the Mangonels. The Springles, rather, were focusing on the units and not the Mangonels. And gets away with 3 of them. It does have Culverins, though, the HRE, and GUA should be able to push away those Springlords. Onabagation diving in, sacrificing themselves to the hand cannoneers. Coming in from the north with another group of Onabagation. Should snipe Mangonels, and coming from the south is just being overrun. These hand cannoneers holding firm, but sooner or later they will start to be overrun. Culverins for the HRE backing off. Another group of infantry heading forward for the HRE. 72 economy versus 75, but I gotta say, the Japanese holding firm in the middle, even without that keep. Infrastructure being rebuilt in the form of barracks, and wonder if he's got any more forges with the Yorishiro inside. He's got 3 to be... This is a bit of an oversight, by the way, because there's 3 of them here. Could have been passively gathering gold with that. But I just have to back away for the Japanese. It's the time for the HRE to push now, you feel. After taking out that castle, he's going to get a castle of his own on those 2 gold veins. That's actually a big problem. If Jiwei gets this up, this is a very big problem for the Japanese, because that's a lot of gold there being denied, and he's going to need gold for sure for the remainder of the game. Oh, but the villagers are a bit risked. The Onabagation hacking and slashing. But it does feel like the keep goes up in the end. A lot of units there for give you anxiety. 90 in total in his army. 2 culverins from the backline for GUA. A massive hand cannoneers just camping on that choke point. Makes it very difficult for the Japanese to get involved. And this could be a good time to try and swarm this keep though, because he doesn't have boiling oil just yet. This is rough. That's a lot of dead bodies for the Onabagation. Coming in from the south, and Jiwei's had enough. He's looking to wall up even more. Stonewalling as well. He doesn't want to be raided anymore. Don't blame him. But he's mounting a big push in the middle. How do the Japanese push back from this? Getting the samurai upgrade. I quite like that. Because a lot of elite archers. This is a smart play. Now the hand cannoneers will be able to do a job against the samurai. But those archers just won't. Especially with the upgrades that he's got. He has got all 3. He's got angled surfaces. Can be increasing that ranged armor of all the infantry units. Samurai included. It's now depositing the Yorishiro. And the forges there in the back of the base. And might need to count how many forges he's got, because he's actually kind of negating the benefits of those 5 relics that Jiwei has. 10 is the magic number, so we do need to see 10 forges with the Yorishiro inside. There's 4 there on that screen. Well, there's a 5th here on the left. A 6th and a 7th here in the back. So that goes a long way to negate the relics that were doing great work for GUA and the HRE, but what's doing great work for the GUA and the HRE are the mangonels and the 2 culverins and the hand cannoneers. But, well, the samurai are heading in with the Onabagation fighting behind them. This is actually what we talked about earlier in the cast, how the Onabagation are a great support unit in this role. Fighting over the shoulders of the samurai, trying to get close to those mangonels if they can. A lot of Azutsu coming in from the Tanegashima Imperial Age landmark for the Japanese, looking to snipe mangonel. Should get one, but they might lose their lives. It's an expensive trade for the Japanese. But he did take out a lot of the siege. Now Jiwei has a lot of control in the middle. I would love to see him get a town center though, just to be sure about things, so he has access to emergency repairs should he need it. Farming transition in the north. More barracks in the south. Both players are equal population, by the way, 154 apiece. Now, as long as he keeps up the farming economy here, the Japanese should be okay. He's got plenty of wood in the bank. And Japanese, well, if you talk about farming, that's something they definitely do well. I would love to see the attack upgrades coming in from the forge for the Japanese. There's no bloomery. And that would help the samurai, but it's primarily focused on the armor upgrades for now. Heading further forward with the Springald on the back line, does have a decent number of elite samurai in the front and has some hand cannoneers as well. This is a fearsome force for the Japanese. Take a look at the military numbers now, 77. This could be a big push for the middle. No real siege for the Japanese to push with, but the samurai might just torch things down. GOA No emplacements in this keep. I feel that's a bit of an oversight. No town center for emergency repairs. And this is looking rough. He does actually have the attack, I think. The attack upgrades he does. It seems. Hand cannoneers holding in that choke point between the mining camp and the castle, but this is a great push here from the Japanese. A samurai going right on top of the ranged units. We talked about how those archers were very exposed, and now GUA is being pushed back. That keep will go down. Torch down to the ground. Oh, villagers on that. Oh my god. Absolute decimation. GUA losing a heck of a lot of villagers. He's lost 192 villagers so far. Oh, mangonels. They're exposed. The samurai are going to jump on top of that. The hand cannoneers there for the Japanese on the backline. This is a fight that I think GUA just can't take. This is starting to snowball, and guess what? The Japanese, they do well with snowballing. It's got massive amount of military production capabilities behind all of this. We might start to see obligation being added in. What's going on here? Holy smokes. Horseman raid on the north. That farming economy has been harassed quite significantly. But take a look at the teal units. The sea of teal units heading across the map. Does have cannon emplacements inside the outposts though. And that will stem the flow just a little bit, but take a look at this. The hand cannoneers backed up by the Ozutsu, the gunpowder of the Japanese, looking very strong. On Golden Pit, is there a way back for GUA? He does have the Palace of Swabia to reboom, but he needs time. Time might not be something that he has. Samurai getting so much value on the front line, really acting as a big meat shield. Would love to see the hand cannoneers join them. The Samurai, they know no fear. Even without the gunpowder support, they run into battle. And on the east, bit of raiding on the farms. In the north, raiding on the wood line. This is a good play by GUA just to detract a little bit. Gonna get a castle defensively, forced into it more than anything. But good amount of stone in the bank for the Japanese. Horsemen diving in, gonna be focusing on the samurai. No bannerman there to assist. But the Zutsu going to be taking down the infrastructure behind this. And you love to see it, right? In pushes like this, you definitely need siege. But he's got a couple of Zutsu, he might need some more. Horsemen going to dive on the springboards. I might try and get a wrap around on the hand cannoneers. He thinks better of it. And he does back away. Woodline has been saved. Oh, take a look at this. GUA coming in with the 43rd minute outpost rush on that woodline. It does pose a problem, but Japanese should be able to just relocate if it becomes an issue. He's starting to head back home though, feeling the pressure of the HRE army, starting to push back. And the great thing for the HRE is that the farming economy, the 40% buffing of the prelate, is looking incredibly strong. 2,000 food per minute, 8,000 food in the bank, and GUA's got a bank of wealth of resources to draw upon if he needs. Infrastructure on the front being taken apart once again. Not for the first time in this game. We're having a big back and forth in this game. It's been a fantastic one so far. This is what the Sultans Ascend new DLC has brought us in Age of Empires 4. Can we trying to chop through here, GUA? Got villagers dotted around everywhere. GUA mustering up a force, coming forward with villagers to get another castle. And I hope he gets the town centre again. Or at least for the first time. He didn't the first time, we should get the emergency repairs. The Japanese have recovered. They got the samurai for the front line. Hand cannoneers behind them. A couple of Zutsu sprinkled in as well. No katana bannerman though just yet. Does have the shields on those samurai, negating the first attack that they take. Makes them incredibly strong in the situation. 2 mangonels do deploy, and well, the Japanese should overrun this. I mean, there are archers. Elite archers is not the play in this situation. The elite archers might work on the hand cannoneers, but they're going to be absolutely shredded by the samurai. And the keep there, once again, will be going down for GUA. The Japanese not happy with that positioning. Although, having said that, the mangonel gets huge value, and the Japanese are struggling for a meat shield front line anymore. They don't have it. But production should be having a good impact on that. Defender's advantage should be playing a role. We're losing a couple of villages on that wood line. Japanese not spotting it just yet. He backs off for now, the Japanese. Maybe waiting for another wave of attack. And he's really struggling in gold, right? Both players actually really struggling in gold. Trying to battle it out for the middle of the golden pit. One of the players might consider going for trade. That might be the difference maker in the situation. But they don't want to let up. They want to fight for the middle. And he does get a town center this time. And the critical part of it is that he will be able to gather that gold. And it's a nice drop-off point for them. Uses that emergency repairs on that keep. This is a strong position now for GUA. It's great that he got the emergency repairs. The Japanese getting ready to go again. Oh, yep. And the gold is getting this gold in the south as well. And this is looking bad for the Japanese because whilst he's mustering his forces again, meanwhile, the HRE are gathering precious gold off the map. Both players almost at population cap. But I think we hear more Yorishiro being dropped off somewhere. Take a look at this. There's a lot of forges now. As we go to the super late game, the Japanese have more gold. And all of a sudden, those 5 relics that the HRE have, it's not necessarily much of a problem. Samurai running in and going to try and get on top of those archers. They might just. Hand cannoneers on the back line, but fighting underneath the keep, there are 4 mangonels. He needs to get rid of those mangonels big time because they're doing all sorts of damage. But he might just get all 4 of them. The samurai trying to get around the back. The archers trying to body block. They do body block, but the samurai break through. And this is looking terrible now for GUA. He might lose this position. Does have hand cannoneers, but take a look. The keeper's going down once again. The Ozutsu on the back line. Emergency repairs comes in this time though, making the life a little bit more difficult for the Japanese to break through that stronghold of the Holy Roman Empire. The samurai going to be absolutely slashing those villagers in gold. And while GUA not spotting it, or he does react now, but he's going the wrong way. Those villagers needed to run away from the blades, but they go straight into the Japanese blades. And a lot of them do perish. Looks like another batch of infantry for the Japanese. Might look to be taking out a couple of the villagers that are repairing. Going to be looking to torch down. Actually, I don't mind this because it's actually wasting critical stone that GUA has. Oh, there's a lot of villagers going to be dying on this wood line again. 227 villagers have been killed by the Japanese army. The Holy Roman Empire needs to stem the bleeding. There will be blood flowing through the streets of the Holy Roman Empire tonight, that's for sure. We're taking down that keep. Rams, villagers frantically trying to repair. This is a bad situation because not only will he lose the keep, but there's a good chance he might lose all these villagers. They do garrison inside the town set. Well, no, they don't actually. I thought they might. They might seek shelter, but no, they're running away for their lives. Surprisingly, well, maybe not. They're good. They're going for mining. They are hard workers, but they will be losing their lives now. I think GUA just trying to get as much gold as he can, whilst he still can. Not a bad move at the end of the day. You can always make more with the Palace of Swabia. Again, mangonels deploy. Now, they do actually ignore the shields, by the way, that the samurai have, but they're going to get close up to the mangonel. Should snipe one. I'm not sure if he gets many more. Oh, an outpost goes up there for GUA. Does have cannon emplacement as well. And we start to see rams on the field for the Japanese. This is a strong push, actually. I love the addition of the rams because what it does, it gives the HRE a distraction. Their army might have to start focusing on the rams lest they lose their infrastructure. If they don't take out the rams, they lose their infrastructure. But if they focus on the rams, that allows the Japanese army to focus on their military units and kill them. But with this number of mangonels, how does he deal with this? Doesn't have a single springboard, I don't think, here. Does have 11 Ozutsu, so might try and snipe them. The range of the Ozutsu might be enough. We'll have to see. Mangonels deploy. Take out a lot of those health on the man-at-arms. They do dive, the samurai, I should say. The Ozutsu on the back line get absolutely decimated by the mangonels. The front line is still holding for the Japanese, but the mangonels do retreat a little bit more, and then they deploy. This is looking bad for the Japanese. They're trying to take out as many of the mangonels as possible. Hand cannoneers are holding firm for the HRE, but take a look at the rams. They're heading forward. It's a relatively expensive investment though into the wood. Doesn't have that much banked up in terms of wood. Villagers coming out to torch down, and this is causing a lot of idle time on the economy. But it does have a lot of economy banked up, at least in terms of food and wood. Struggling in gold here, GUA. Cannot say the same though for the Japanese. He's going to take out a lot of the infrastructure. The torch damage just not enough on the villagers. He's committing with a lot of villagers to torch this down. Almost 50. That's actually half the economy already completely idle, trying to torch down the incoming ram rush. Does use the emergency repairs on the university, and he keeps himself alive, but there's still more rams coming in. Japanese replenishing with those samurai. Oh my god, they might take out a lot of those villagers. They do retreat now. He does start to lose a couple of those mangonels. GOA, he's taking out the rams. But he takes off one, and it's almost like two more appear. Another set of mangonels, but the issue is the mangonels. He's got to deal with that somehow, the Japanese. Does have a couple of sprinkles, but what's really concerning for the HRE is I just wonder whether more Yorishiro have been deposited in forges. Certainly an interesting situation where the Japanese have that late game long-term gold income. In any case, he has the gold in the middle potentially to take. Good number of rams, kind of body blocking a little bit. The hand cannoneers might be focused on them. Needs to be careful here with his micro GOA not to focus too much on the rams and let the samurai dish out damage. He's going to head forward with the rams head first. Doesn't seem to care. Gathering a lot of the gold. Surprisingly enough, doesn't actually have acid distillation. Wait. Okay, he does have some of the wood cutting upgrades, but not the final one. Getting stables here. GOA. Looking just to get some horsemen, maybe to raid. That's actually not a bad option because he's not walled up here, the Japanese on the west side. There's a decent amount of economy here in the form of the farms. It's getting up. GOA never upgraded these, which is kind of funny. Oh, horseman going to dive in. Going to be sniping off the mangonel that... Oh, maybe not. He thought about it. There is a mangonel there for the Japanese. Villagers are kind of exposed. He's got to be careful to pull those back away. He does. But some might die with the hand cannoneers in position. Horseman going to be riding up the hill. Takes the fight. 4 mangonels though for the HRE. Going to be decimating the infantry mass. Villagers coming out once again for the HRE to try and get the keep up. He needs to take out these rams if he can. The samurai diving in. There's a lot of samurai here for the Japanese. I don't think this is a fight that GOA can take. He's losing a lot of the hand cannoneers. No real meat shield for them. Has archers on the backline, but they will not do much at all. He loses the mangonels. There's a great pushback by the Japanese. The keep goes up. The villagers standing outside. They actually retreat to try and get some gold rather than garrisoning inside. He does now go to the gold mine. Well, the numbers now dwindling again for the Japanese. GOA holding on with that keep. But he sends a couple of samurai just to harass those villagers. Such a smart play by the Japanese. Thank you for the raid there, Credo. Appreciate it. Thank you. Hope you had a good stream. We're heading into the thick of this fight. 54 minutes on the clock. It's going to lose this keep again to the Ozutsu, a strong siege unit coming out for free sometimes from the landmark, the Tanegashima gunsmith. But he might lose, and the horseman getting us around. But will he take out the keep in the end? He will. He should get the keep. He does. Oh, the emergency repairs. The town center. He was trying to get the GOA, but didn't get the town center up in time. Absolute mayhem outside the Japanese base. Certainly everything focused on here. The military numbers not looking great for the Japanese. Down to 35. 59 for GOA. This is looking tricky, I gotta say. Samurai. Oh, there's a lot of villages that could be taken. The Zutsu going to be sniping some of those villagers. They're behind all this. Both players have stabilized somewhat. Jiwei up to 200 population capacity with 125 villagers. Having lost so many, 279 villagers were slain by the Japanese army. Hand cannoneers waiting for their chance to pounce on top of those. Wait, what? Okay, so trying to get another keep. Jiwei struggling though to keep them alive for long enough. Loses a mangonel cheaply there, the Japanese. Horsemen riding in, going to be sniping down the bombard. Well, yeah, that's a bit of a loss there. And going to be sniping down the mangonel too. Samurai coming in, they're trickling out, trying to get another keep in this position. Jiwei not giving up. The trouble is, Japanese are struggling in military numbers. They're struggling for food. They don't have the food income that they want, but for the first time we see a lot of villagers off of farms. And the food income is less than it used to be for the HRE, which is not necessarily a problem when he has the bank of resources he has. And this is why the Japanese have been struggling. The outpost did get upgraded in the end and lost a lot of the farming economy, despite having the daimyo man at town centre. And the forge will go down on the front line. 66 military to 42. The Japanese, can they find a way back into the game? It's got to mass up and take care of these hand cannoneers somehow. It's going to get a castle just to stem the bleeding and the push for a little while. Quite a few villagers here gathering wood. Sneakily enough there for GUA. Going to get a keep in a really strong position. That's going to deny 2 wood lines almost. It's not clear if the Japanese actually see it. Well, they will see it. Hasn't reacted to it just yet though. Yeah, outpost in the north really being a pain. The keep goes up and now he will notice it. And this is looking problematic. The Japanese have to deal with this. The good thing for them is that with the siege that he has, the bombard, he might be able to deal with it pretty soon. With the Tanegashima gunsmith, he's getting hand cannoneers. Could look to get some more Zupsu, we'll have to see. Just going to torch this down. GOA, he does have boiling oil, but nothing much more. Looking to get reinforced defenses, but I'm not sure that comes in time. Oh, what's all this? Look at the production. Extending the, it's kind of funny. It's extending the emergency repairs. Castle deploys. And cannoneer numbers looking dangerous though, with horsemen riding on the front lines. GUA has a massive unit, but there's a lot of mangonels that are chasing. GUA, he smells something. He smells that he can go to the north. And that's going to be his access point, he feels. He's going to get another castle there to defend the Tanegashima landmark. Oh, the villagers could be attacked. Uh-oh, this could be bad for the Japanese. He hasn't reacted yet, just yet, GUA. But he might lose control of the middle. Massive units heading the middle. There's no army here. The army instead is in the north. He does deny that castle, and the Japanese don't get the full return on that. He lost a bit of stone. Take a look at the rocket damage coming out from the town set of the Japanese. I don't think the horsemen get all that much value. Might kill a couple of villagers, but it shouldn't be a problem with the damage output from this town center, unless they get out of the range, which is quite possible. Emergency repairs comes out for GUA, trying to get back into position rather. That's some massive hand cannoneers. It's got to find a way to deal with that. Oh, mangonel deploys, does take a massive hit there. GUA, he's got to be careful. The samurai getting on top of that. Can't afford to take too many more hits by the mangonels. He might lose this mass. The great thing about the samurai is the shield. It's what's doing it for them. It's negating the first attack entirely. Now he's going to lose his keep again now, GUA. In the back though, a couple of horsemen are raiding. Japanese down to 150 population. That's the problem. Oh, mangonel, huge shot on those hand cannoneers. They got out of position, but not quick enough. They didn't get out of the way of those boulders, and now he's losing that middle position again. A rough spot here, GUA. Question is, how many times is he going to get pushed off the middle? And how many times is the Japanese going to be ending up falling back again? We're going to be possibly sniping off a mangonel. No, it doesn't quite happen. The mangonels on the back there for GUA. There's a lot of them. I wonder whether an Onabagacia switch could be useful for here for the Japanese. We'll have to see. Mostly relying on the samurai for now. That's a lot of mangonels. Can torch down the outpost and then the siege workshops. The trouble for GUA is that if he loses his position once again, I mean, most of the gold has already been taken on his side of the map, so he's going to struggle on gold. He's getting 2,000 though in that gold vein. That might expire soon, but the samurai are going to dive on top of that siege. Oh my god, this is bad. The mangonels were unprotected. There was no meat shield, and they're all going to go down in the blink of an eye. GOA, he's going to lose his massive mangonels, and that's a lot of gold investment. Not only that, he's going to lose his villages if they don't retreat soon. Coming in with rounds as well, that's going to be a unique problem to deal with. There's mangonels for the Japanese. He's getting a bombard too, and the Ozutsu. This is looking like a very big death push for the Japanese. At 200 population, GOA at 120. Where does he go from here? Well, the way he goes is he retreats with those villagers, trying to survive. The Rams pushing forward though, right into the middle of the base. They need to keep going. Wheels are in motion. Oh, the trouble for GOA is a lot of his production here is on the front. And if that goes down, he's going to need to replace it, but it doesn't have the wood for it. This is a big problem. We're at the stage of the game where wood is an issue and doesn't have any villagers on the outside of these walls. Trying to get some now. He will be going to that wood line on the west, but take a look at this. These villagers on the wood are going to be going down. There's a lot of villagers. Uh-oh. GOA, Walolo coming off. He might get a couple of units here. The Japanese. Oh, he's going to lose a couple of samurai. He lost a couple. Just one or two. Could have been worse. But there's a lot of static defenses, right? But take a look at the Rams. They're doing great work with the bombard behind, and he's taking out a lot of infrastructure. He's torching down at 2, and this is looking bad for GOA. He's down to 77 villages. Might not have the time to reboom. And he loses all those villagers on this wood line, not reacting in time. Oh, that's so rough. So many villagers. Killed 300 odd already, the Japanese. Gets 2 bombards, looking to try and snipe out the siege that's on the field for the Japanese. He's holding with horsemen. The trouble is, that won't work for a while because these stables will be going down soon. And the horsemen do get bonus damage against the battering rams. The samurai might have something to say about that. Riding further forward are the horsemen. They're going to be protecting that choke point. Does have an outpost with the relics inside. He's actually down to 3 relics in depositing, by the way. So that gold income is going to struggle because the outpost did go down. He's going to take that one that's trying to be built up. He gets it in the end, I think. In any case, the samurai are acting as a good meat shield. A decent number of them protecting the rams. The rams will take the stables, and that production capabilities for the HRE just dwindles, losing more villages. Down to 60 villages. GOA. He's struggling to keep that economy alive. That's a lot of rams. That is a lot of rams. GOA needs to find us. That's a lot of. Wait a minute. That's a lot of rams. Stables are going down. Just one left. The samurai tanking. The trouble is for GOA, he can't produce gold units. That's the big key difference here. The relics aren't all garrisoned inside, and the Yorishiro inside the forges are. And those samurai really tanking hard. The horsemen aren't doing all that much to them. Of course, the first attack is negated by the shield, and it's just relying on the huge massive units. Might try and get a Wallow with the prelate with that relic, but doesn't activate it just yet. Now, if the Japanese spot this, this is kind of the mainstay of the wood income coming in for the HRE. Wallow coming off. Not going to get all that much. Most of the units... Oh, wait. He's going to ride in with a couple of samurai. That was a bit optimistic. They died anyway. An absolute destruction. Holy moly. 29 military though only remaining for the Japanese. Needs to regroup and rebuild. But he's got a lot of resources in the bank. Especially wood and especially gold in comparison. He's only got 90 gold here, GOA. Really struggling on that front. Double the gold income. Not a single villager on gold, guys. That's the big difference. Not a single villager on gold for either player, but double the income for the Japanese. That Japanese gold income is going to be great for supplying the army with samurai. Ram's going to go for the relics here. This is great play. I think Japanese, they recognize that gold is an issue because his opponent's focusing on horsemen. Having to idle more villagers here, GOA. He's down to 61, and all of a sudden, I mean, he's not going to be able to produce meaningful military. Doesn't have the gold for it. Springalds are there, trying to snipe out the bombards if they can, but they get sniped. Rams again, body blocking. The trouble for GOA is once you've got 97 military, once they're all gone, it's going to become increasingly difficult to replenish that army. Also, Japanese, if they lose their army, they can kind of replace it in a blink of an eye. Woodline is looking to be refreshed. There's a sneaky outpost on the right side with the cannon placement. Quite a few villages are idle for the Japanese. Need to sort that out. They're all trying to... Thing is, Yeah, I don't know if he's actually getting this as a notification, by the way. That sometimes bugs out like that. If there's some wood left but they can't reach it, doesn't always give them a little ZZZ on top of the villagers. Horsemen are going to be trying to get us around on those samurai. The samurai are going to hold on for now. They're going to be waiting for reinforcements. That's a lot of rounds. Not the first time I've said that in the game. Oh, the hand cannoneers. They're left exposed. The samurai going to get good damage on them. Oh, this is not the play. Archers is not the play. Not against the samurai, but it feels like maybe Jiwei can't produce anything else. Does have enough stone for another keep, but might just be stemming the flow of the game because he has broken down in the south, and I wonder whether the samurai might head in this position. That might be the way into the farming economy. Jiwei recognizes that. The Japanese are doing just that. 3 relics there. Ungarrisoned. Only 2 so far garrisoned, and that means that gold income, he's being starved of it. Samurai diving in. Horsemen, it's mainly the hand cannoneers that are getting good DPS against the samurai. Although on the retreat like that, the archers will pick off a couple. Rams taking out drop-off points. Why not? Might as well do something. Keep busy. And there should be an army that's cleaned up there for the Japanese. It's kind of running away, wasting the units. Maybe detracting. Maybe it's okay, that's a bait. He's pulling away the units in the south. The horsemen need to get back in position. The horsemen will get there fine, but the infantry might not. Rams pushing heavy. Quite a few of them. Backed up by the samurai. 16 rams. Going to take out another outpost. Just got deposited with that relic, if you will. Horsemen going to get on that, but rams are battering. 16 of them. And it's so difficult, right? The army struggling to get rid of those rams. It's got 114 military, but it's almost not enough here for Jiwei. Only got 38 villagers in the south. He's being raided. The samurai do break through. And the horsemen pulled away, but Jiwei is struggling. He's losing a lot of villages. Down to 33 villages. It's got to be the final push, right? The Rams going to take out the Ark and Chapel before too long. The samurai coming in from the south to pick off the horsemen. There's got to be no way. He pulls back with the archers, but he's going to catch off some reinforcements that are coming in the way of samurai for the Japanese, but that's not the main problem. The main problem are the Rams. The Ark and Chapel goes down, and that only leaves back 3 more landmarks. The Regent's Cathedral, the town centre, and the Palace of Swabia. Does have a good number of military, but that's not going to be holding on for too long, because take a look what's coming in. Hand cannoneers, samurai, and more rams. The Japanese looking strong in Golden Pit in this last stages of the game. Jiwei, he fought valiantly, but down to 30 economy to 74 military. Well, it's not a bad military count compared to the Japanese, but of course, it's a 22 population in the form of the siege military. That's going to be stealing the show. Emergency repairs coming out to delay things as much as he can. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Jiwei taps out. He had no choice on the Golden Pit. It was a great back and forth game in Age of Empires 4 as part of the new Sultans Ascend DLC. That was a cracker. Now, if you did like that video, and if you didn't, I don't know how you watched to this point, but make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Take care, and see you next time.